Hey there. So, as promised, we've got here a 3D printed PLA Super Mario Brothers Thwomp. And what we're going to do today is a couple of easy things. Just fill in some of these gaps in a little more obvious places. There's tiny holes here. I'm not going to do much about the pattern. It's pretty slight. I'm hoping the paint will probably take care of a lot of that. And I don't want to take away from the fact that it's printed. I'm just kind of filling in some of these small gaps. But then we're going to hit it with some spray paint, put a base coat of gray on it, and then go from there. And we'll see how that turns out. But, you can see there's some little bits of PLA webbing that I can just pick out probably too. That's part of the prep, I guess. So what I've done is I've got some Milliput. If you're not familiar with this, I got tons of videos on it. You can do a search online, but essentially what it is a two-part epoxy resin or putty. You squish it together. You've got a sort of a base and a catalyst, A and B. And then once you've mixed them together, they start to harden. So this is what I'm going to use for the filler. I've got way more than I need. Probably going to use this for something else I'm working on. If you saw my other video about the 3D prints I'm painting out, this will probably end up going to one of those Mandalorian figures. All right. Okay, so we filled in most of the little holes. I don't really see any prominent ones. Like I said, I mean, I'm not trying to coat the whole thing. I'm just trying to fill in the really obvious gaps. Oops, I missed one right there. I'll take a look at that again. But yeah, I mean, really, the point of this wasn't to smooth this out. It was just to kind of fill in some of the really obvious holes. And this ended up almost kind of being like a slurry to get these in there because they're so small. Let me see if I can just smooth this one out. Yeah, see, I mean, it didn't really even take much. But yeah, he's ready for spray paint. So let's put the first base coat on him. So I've got a can. It's been sitting in my garage, brand new, for about 2 months now. I don't know if that's a good sign. Yeah, I've been hitting it like a shaker weight for the last 10 minutes to try to loosen it up. Get that mixed up. I think we're ready. I think it's time. Let's see, can I zoom in on this? Oh, look at that. It's right zoomed in, see? It's real zoomed in. Look at that zoom. All I want to do is... All right. Let's see. Oh, that looks black. Ooh, looks good. Looks good. Looking good so far. What I've decided to do with this guy is go ahead and glue him to a base. I think I'm going to glue him to this portion of the base and just trim this off real quick. Get it kind of even a little bit. All right, so now that I've cut this, I'm going to go ahead and glue this guy to the base and then put some putty down. Okay. All right. So looks like we've got a decent amount of Milliput on there. It's got a real nice sandy, deserty texture to it. Sure, there's a little pieces here and there that are kind of stuck on, but that's okay. Yeah, I think that's going to look good. So we're going to put that aside to dry. This guy, I don't think really needs anything. I know there's little lines and stuff in his slot. Probably would have benefited from something like this, but I mean, these were kind of printed on a fluke. I just wanted to see what the printer could do, and now we're going to see how these things take paint. So this is just a fun experiment. It's just for fun. Okay, so yeah. Let's put some primer on these guys. Okay, so unlike the Thwomp printout, which is printed out in a matte gray, these were printed out in a very, very shiny black. Which, as you can see, makes it a little difficult to make out all the details. I'm sure they're nice. I can see a lot of them, but from here, even from, I mean, it's kind of hard to see. So I'm not going to do these in flat black. I'm going to do these in a matte white, flat white, whatever you want to call it. Just because, yeah, it'd be a lot easier to see what I'm working on here. So let's hit these with some flat white. Just another view of these two guys. Again, keep in mind, these are only 3 inches tall. And this was done with PLA on an FDM printer. This is not a resin printer. So if you were expecting something with no lines, yeah, that wasn't going to happen. You can already see there's some fuzzies right here I'm going to have to take off. All right, so it's been 24 hours. This has been primed on the front, the back, the sides, a couple times, I think. You can see I filled in a lot of those little holes and gaps. A couple that are still there, but I'm not really too worried about it. These guys have been primed white, and we're just going to keep it real simple. So what I'm probably going to do here, see, you can see these little boogers in here. That's from the print. And I could just manage with a paintbrush to just, you know, get those out of the way. They're just little boogers from, you know, when it printed. Nothing too crazy. Nothing too crazy. Here's some more. It's like stripping little cobwebs away. But otherwise, looks pretty clean. You know, some random junk. That's fine. Not a big deal. I don't care if this looks kind of frayed because be afraid. Be very afraid. Just kidding. But yeah, it looks frayed. He has kind of a raggedy look at the beginning of the series anyway, so we'll go with this one as the raggedy Mando. This will be the shiny later on in the series Mando again. A few boogers here and there. Nothing too crazy. For the most part, it's pretty clean. Yeah, all right. So just to keep it simple, colors I'm using on this are literally just black and white. That's what this guy's going to get primarily. Varying shades of black and white. And maybe a little bit of red. Some of my golden red. I love this red. He's just got a couple of little dots of red on his eyes. For the new Mando, we're probably going to do this mix of Vallejo silver and Vallejo bronze. He's got kind of that sort of coppery look, and I know there's a lot of lines on here. That's all right, I don't really care. And yeah, we're going to do these two guys together. But yeah, so he's going to get a mix of that for his armor. And I know in the earlier part of the series, he's got some shiny business, but mostly it's just tarnished brown junky armor, and you know, that's primarily what he's going to get here. But yeah, for now, before I lay down any paint, I'm just going to put a little black wash on both of these. And this guy, we're just going to go straight into some dry brushing with some gray, get a nice coat over it, you know, fill it all out, and then go from there. So let's start with the washes, and then we can put these aside. Pretty straightforward. Here again, I'm using a Vallejo. This one's a black wash. If you're familiar with my work, I'm not exactly fancy. I'm not the fancy kind of guy. So let's see here. We're going to zoom out a little bit. And I'm just going to dip some of the wash in this bottle cap. Nothing too fancy. It's probably good enough for, I think, the majority of this. Once again, this is for those of you that are looking at this video right now and cringing and being like, oh my God, that's not how you paint a miniature. Yeah, I don't care. This isn't a how-to paint miniatures. This is just purely entertainment value. If you cringe that much, I would suggest turning away. Avert your eyes. Avert your eyes! But, yeah, I mean, this is just how I paint stuff sometimes if I want to do something quick. These aren't super detailed or even really super special figures. They're just quick 3D prints on an FDM. They are pretty nice, and I forget who made these, but I think I put the names in the last video where I showcased when I first printed them, so you can probably go look it up there. And again, I don't know to whom they were originally attributed. I took a best guess based on where I downloaded. I got these off of, I want to say these were off printables.com, which is mostly a Prusa printer site, but yeah. And these are such quick paint jobs. This is going to be such a short video, really, that I just decided just to combine the Mandalorian paints with the Thwomp, just because otherwise I wouldn't have much of a video. No biggie. But like with most of my stuff, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this. I mean, honestly, apart from the OMC mech, I haven't spent tons and tons of time on any of the smaller bits, those projects, but you know. Okay, so that looks pretty decent. I mean, that's, you know, pretty good amount of coverage. I think we got all the spaces. And I'm sure there's some folks that are like, why are you putting a wash over the primer before you even paint it? Well, because I feel like it. There's no wrong way or right way. I know that there's tons of people on the internet claiming that there's a right way and wrong way to paint something. Ultimately, it's just whatever floats your boat, right? If everybody did everything the way everybody else does, there'd be no variation in anything. So, if you do something a little different, it works for you, do it. So, for this guy, I guess I want a kind of a base gray. I'm just going to put a little blob of white. And you'll notice I got kind of a mix of super cheap Walmart paints and slightly more expensive paints. I just use whatever works. Sometimes Apple Barrel's great, sometimes it's terrible. It just depends what you're using it for. If you just need to cover a lot of space fast, I don't see any point in using super high-end miniature brushes. That's just silly. So we're not going for like a... We're just kind of giving it sort of a base of gray right now. Easy peasy. There you go. Pretty quickie. Okay. So what we're going to do next is I kind of want to get a sort of a speckled flecked pattern on this to give it kind of a granite look, more stony. All right, so I got a little bit of a texture on there. Looks like it's, like it's kind of stony. A few little blobs that are a bit much, but that's okay. Now I'm just going to highlight it a little bit, just sort of dry brush some areas. Very lightly. Just to kind of get some edge highlights on there. Just in those spots I like. Eyes and mouth, down here by the teeth, around the mouth. There we go, so it looks nice and stony. All right, so now we're going to fill in the teeth with some white. We're going to fill in the background of those eyes, and then the red. And okay, so this is what Thwomp is supposed to look like. So it looks like background in black, red eyes, super dark pupils, and white teeth. All right, so got the mouth done, got the eyes done. They're still kind of wet up by the eyes, but let's do the teeth real quick. He looks so angry, he's hangry. All right, I'm gonna call him done. He looks like what he's supposed to look like, right? So, how big is he? He's not too big, he's pretty small. See, he's a little guy. So we're gonna put this one aside and then spray it before anything happens and it gets chipped up or something. But yeah, I'm gonna call this Thwomp done. Thwomp is completed. Okay, so this is the color scheme that we're going to go with, the Season 1 armor scheme for, I think, this guy here, since he's got the long rifle. So we'll do that on this dude. And then I think on the other guy, we're going to do the full armor set, which is this set here. So it's got all the silver bits, and that'll go on him. All right, so I ended up using this chestnut apple barrel color, which is that color there. And yes, I wasted a ton of paint. That's fine, it'll be all right. It'll be fine. Trust the process. Anyway, I mixed it with some black, and I got this nice coffee brown, which, I mean, it just seemed perfect for just as a base coat for everything. So I thought, you know, I was going to paint it all over. Why not? I mean, yeah. In fact, I think we'll call this color, just because it's so perfect for what I need, I'm going to call it Dinjarin Brown. Boom, done. It's a thing now. So I decided to go ahead and touch these up just a little bit before I call them done. Maybe add a little bit of shading here in some spots because it just looks a little bit boring. And the cloth and wrinkles in the fabric don't really seem to be popping out. So we'll touch this up a little bit. And same thing goes for this guy. He's a little bit more done, but again, I just want to make sure I add a little bit more detail before I call it finished. And then we'll go from there. Yeah, I think that's good enough. I think we can call this one done. So we'll call that one done. Thought maybe I'd go in and highlight a little bit of this guy's brown too. Just a hair. In some spots. Yeah, like the gun. Maybe a little bit on the cape. Just a little bit. And yeah, I know it looks muddy. It's okay. That's kind of the look I'm going for anyway. But yeah, all right. I think he's probably good to go here. I can just highlight a little bit here and there. I think he's probably good with that. I'm not going too crazy with this one. So there's our Mandalorian season 1. Mandalorian season 2. Didn't think I was going to leave out the glamour shot, did you? All right, folks, thanks for stopping by. Once again, I'll try to get out some more content. I know I've been slow this last part of the year, but these were fun to paint. I hope you got something out of them. If you haven't already done so, please like and subscribe, and let me know if, what you thought of this video. If you'd like to see more like this or anything else, stuff that you're interested in, I'll be more than happy to give it some consideration. Anyway, talk to you guys later, and again, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.